Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Welcome back to Journey Through the Tarot, where we are examining the tarot cards one by one in the Housewives Tarot deck by Paul Couple and Jude Buffum. This week we are honing in on strength. Strength is both as a concept and an application. It can apply to both ways when we do our readings. There's a number of ways to define and to describe what strength really consists of. Certainly physical prowess is one way, mental fortitude, that's another, emotional resilience, and also spiritual power. These can all be manifestations and expressions of strength. Now the card images, if you'll notice, they have powerful soap pads for doing up the dishes. They look very heavy duty, they mean business, they're likely to produce results. And this tells me that the concept of strength within this deck carries a connotation of having the ability to accomplish a task or a goal, particularly when it comes to overcoming obstacles, including glued-on cheese. Always a nuisance when you're doing dishes by hand, having to deal with cheese or anything that's been allowed to sit without soaking. Anyways, without going into my domestic issues, let's look at this. The other thing about it is that the image also conveys a sense of competence. Not only will the to-do list get done, but the results will be useful and productive, and it'll be proper. Things will be executed in a proper manner. It's not going to be slipshod or just halfway. Someone's actually taking a little bit of pride in their work, and that in and of itself is kind of a rarity these days. And it takes strength to do it, because the easiest thing in the world is to go along with people who are like, yeah, it doesn't matter, it pays you money, just the same whether you do your job well or whether you do it poorly. But those tend to be the voices that can demoralize you and drag you down. And really what we need, whether we're in our secular job or we're taking on any other kind of task, is to be surrounded by voices that are like, yes, it matters to do things right. It matters to do things to the best of your ability. Now, if we take a look at our handy-dandy booklet, notice that there are three key words: determination, conviction, and power. I think determination is impossible to separate from the idea of strength. Well, why would you be showing strength at all if you were not also determined to accomplish something? I mean, no matter what the task is. If it doesn't matter, it's like, yeah, well, I sort of gave it to go, but I don't really care, so I'm not going to carry on with it. Obviously, that would be a lack of determination. Also closely related to the idea of conviction. If I am not convinced that something matters and that it is important to carry through, then why would I show that determination? Why would I have that strength? Why would I devote my power, be it through my physical body or through what I do in the magical realms? Why would I use my power for something that I didn't think was worthwhile? Why would I exhibit strength for something that I don't consider worthwhile? Where and how we exhibit strength, it really reveals our priorities in life. Not the things we give lip service to, which may or may not exactly match reality. This is about the reality of what we actually care about. What do we make sure gets done no matter what? Now, the booklet goes on to have a few interesting things to say. The authors write, the strength card teaches you that true power lies within, that brute force alone will not remove caked-on grease and grime from your skillet. Scrub too hard and you will only scour yourself. A little pressure applied correctly and with the right tool can accomplish anything. Like leaving dirty dishes to soak, this lesson may take some time to sink in. There are several things that I want to draw attention to this. First and foremost, the right tool. And by that, I mean the expression, use the right tool for the right job. Not everything in life requires the approach and finesse of a scalpel. Not everything in life is going to benefit from a cannonball being hurled towards it. And all the things in between. If we are not approaching a problem using the correct tools and looking at it from the right vantage point, our efforts are going to be frustrated. And even if we are demonstrating strength, we are not going to be using it to good purpose. We'll be exhausting ourselves without getting any kind of results. Let's see, and as far as the lesson taking time to sink in, that's really the other thing I wanted to highlight. We get in too much of a hurry, don't we? Everything can be so instantaneous, from our shopping, just, a click away, to so many people are able to work from home now, are becoming less and less dependent on having face-to-face human interaction for a variety of reasons. Part of it has to do, of course, with the COVID hysteria. Some people are never going to recover from that. And part of it is just from the convenience of technologies. Like, oh, well, why should I go out and do, this errand and that if I can just, get an app and I can just click my little buttons and then I can go over at my leisure and pick up whatever it was I needed to pick up, and I'm not really dealing with anyone. We are spoiled. As much as we've been going through, in a material way, most of us are really quite spoiled. We don't understand what it is to work at something in a steady way. And of course, we are in an environment that is not teaching emotional resilience. If anything, it is teaching people to not be emotionally resilient. We have a rather significant chunk of the population who's obsessed over the wrongs and the mistakes and the crimes of things that happened more than a century ago. Things that no one here living participated in. I mean, even if you make the case that people were doing certain things in previous incarnations, I mean, it was a previous incarnation. Somebody might have kind of evolved between then and now. And for another, how could you ever hope to prove that a certain individual was guilty of a certain act in a certain time period? You can't. You don't. All of it is it is this pointless wringing of hands. It is wasting people away. And that's one of the reasons why strength is becoming such an issue in society. And of course, those who do show strength and who do have good character, and when they're demonstrating that, a lot of people have no compunction whatsoever about trying to tear them down. And without maintaining your strength, without continuing to build yourself up, without surrounding yourself with people who build you up, and people who will say, no, 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 no. I mean, what so-and-so said, that is really off base, and here are the reasonable reasons why they are wrong. Without having someone in your corner like that, your strength can get chipped away, like the death of 1,000 cuts. Just a little piece at a time, and then all of a sudden, all your strength is gone, and you collapse under the weight of your own anxieties and woes. So, we have to have some fortitude. That's where, again, the determination and the conviction comes back in. When we are seeing the strength card, one of the messages we might be getting is that it is time to start rebuilding yourself up. Don't simply say that you're strong and then feel like you're never going to be called upon to back that up. No, life is constantly testing us. It is constantly requiring us to not only have fortitude, but to continue to gain more. Food for thought. Now, when this comes up in a reading, again, strength is a necessary quality in many, if almost all, areas of life. And depending on where it appears in a spread is going to affect the context in which this card should be read. If it is with a health reading, you're going to look more so in the physical realm of what kind of physical strength. Is someone actually doing things to build themselves up? Are they eating in a reasonable fashion? Are they getting off their couch and exercising a little bit? I'm obviously not a health food nut, and in other things of that kind, but I think there's a level of reasonable life that people can go to without essentially treating their diets and their exercise routines as a religion in and of itself. So I would, if it comes up in a querent in that kind of health context, I would definitely look towards, are they living a reasonable lifestyle, and can they be encouraged to get more? If it is a reading that has to do with maybe their past or particular challenging they're facing, definitely read this card more so in the context of mental fortitude and emotional resilience. And if they are taking their first wee steps out on their spiritual path, or they're coming back after a period of demoralization and questioning and disillusionment, this would then come up in more so of a spiritual context. Is someone going to be showing some spiritual strength and power? Are they in it to become what they can be? Are they in it to really fulfill their spiritual potential? That's just a few notes on that. The Strength card can also alert us to something that we lack. Perhaps it's time to square our shoulders, stiffen our resolves, and just face what is. And honestly, like everyone else, I struggle with looking at the world as it is, and I particularly struggle when I have a clear vision of what the world could be and what I think it would benefit from being. So when I contrast that with how things actually are, it takes a little something. It takes a lot of strength not to say phooey. Maybe it's just time to just watch the entire thing burn. I mean, what more do people deserve? That also relates to the idea of strength, a strength that, while there are things that need to be done away with, things that need to be evolved, things that need to be changed or just thrown out completely, it is going to require strength to be part of that decision-making process, even as an ordinary member of society. It also takes strength to veer away from, well, just let it all burn. People are content. You might let them stew in their juices. It's no more than what they deserve. They've been crying out for misery, and now misery is what they have received. And there's a certain amount of justice in that. But even while people get their own karma delivered to them, there will be some of them who wake up and realize, oh, I was wrong. I mean, I was really, really horrifically wrong, and I'm looking at the damage, and I know this wasn't okay, and now I understand what people were talking about. People in that who are wanting to make a turnaround, they will require kindness, and it will require strength to extend that kindness to them when they are ready to change course, entertain different ideas. Consider that maybe, clinging to stubbornly bad ideas that have a really horrific historical track record, that maybe that wasn't a good thing. There will still be people who eventually come to that realization, even if it's not on a timetable that we would prefer. They will need support, and that will require our strength because, hey, when people come to their senses, you want to encourage that. Now, I think the last thing I want to get into is that the Strength card can also be a sign, again, depending on the context, that you will be receiving support, that you will be able to lean into someone else's strength and to be able to gain benefit from their determination, their conviction, their power. Look for this in relationship readings, or in friendship readings, or in readings that have to do with someone looking for their spiritual community. This is definitely a time when the Strength card could appear, and it could be signaling that this person, while they might be feeling very vulnerable or very unsure of themselves, they are in good hands, and that there's no particular cause to worry. So, handy dandy card, the Strength card. Next week we will go into the Hermit. So I hope you will come back for that. But for now, I'll see you in another video.